Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rebels and Flux. My name is Chris Netto. I am the host of this crazy, bizarre old show where I get to invite some people that I know they're not the average AV people that you would have on other types of shows. But what we're doing here is we're actually highlighting some of the unique individuals within our industry. And today I am happy to announce that I have Mr. Bryan Meszaros of OpenEye Global joining us on the show. How are you, Bryan?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Welcome from your travels. I know you don't sit still very long. You're kind of like trying to herd cats to schedule you into places, but it's interesting. Welcome. How is your day going so far?
It's good. It's good. It's the countdown to the Jersey local summer.
Yeah,
so,
get ready, because
I know. A few more days, and all of a sudden it's summer in New Jersey.
Yeah, and if you don't know the derogatory term known as bennies, you will sometime during this episode. Would it be a derogatory term? Yes, I guess.
It's to us. It's not
that. We will explain that later on in the show. But I thank you for coming on board, Bryan. Let's start off by talking about what you do, who you work for, and start with the multiple organizations that you're a part of here, because that I think is also key to it. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, yeah, first it's awesome to be on with you. So I guess, I'm Bryan Meszaros. I run the day job. I run an experience design agency called OpenEye Global. We're 18 years old this year, which is still crazy to say that. And so our focus as an agency is to help different environments connect to their audience through the use of technology. So, we very much have this agency approach of looking at what's the problem, how do we solve it through the use of interactive applications or large visuals or immersive experiences. And we're trying to craft this for them, for the environment owners, which could be retailers or banks, or museums or airports, to find a way to have that more meaningful engagement with their end user. And then I also I'm finishing up my last year as president of Society for Experiential Graphic Design, otherwise known as SEGD. So I've been on that for 2 years as president, and with the organization for 6-7 years, and helping them or working with them, being part of it, and again trying to bridge that gap between physical and digital experience design. And at times, I throw my hat in the ring and teach a course up at Seton Hall University, so on digital engagement. So I pretty much do nothing all day, sort of very lazy.
Yeah,
I think.
it's a great. So you create PowerPoints. That's awesome.
Pretty much so. Really, really flashy graphics. A little sunburst here in the corner.
That's awesome. A lot of light effects. You're like the J. Abrams of AV PowerPoints. It's awesome. A lot of flares. A lot of that, and a lot of like really cool sound clip button. Sound clips. Oh God, what's the famous clip that they use in video all the time? The so and so scream, which is like the famous. I forgot what the name of it, but it will appear on this lower thirds. There is a scream that's a sound effect that is known throughout all of the video, I guess, or film world. When you need to insert a scream noise, it's that a scream, and I will add that down here. It's an interesting little fact for you to know.
Classy.
Yes. So, as you mentioned, you were with OpenEye Global. You do the immersive stuff. Explain for the viewers what your idea is of immersive. When not when, but as the person who's creating the content, or actually part of the bigger design, right? You're not necessarily picking the technology right now, but you know the technology that you need in order to make it happen. So what is immersive design to someone such as yourself?
It's a good question. I think it's one I think we all kind of struggle to get a real good definition to. I think for us, we look at is any kind of engagement that makes you feel like you're getting something more out of the experience, like you feel connected to the environment. Large visual displays, a large LED display, even though that it isn't surrounding you, can still be used as something that ties and helps you feel more connected with the environment that you're in, or deliver more information to you about an experience. The other way we look at it too is using interactivity, different triggers of actions or events or technology and environment, sensors and things of that nature as you're roaming around the environment that open up new opportunities for you to explore. I think the whole point of really immersive is giving you tools to find out other areas in that environment that otherwise you wouldn't explore on your own. It's like you need that help to augment that experience, the physical experience you have, to pull you deeper into it. And I think that's how we kind of do immersive. So it's just a combination of different engagements together that deliver that complete ecosystem.
Yeah. Now, I guess a follow-up question to that is, when you say immersive in the ecosystem and in getting into the physical environment, how often have you dabbled into not just from a sight and sound, but from maybe adding smoke or other types of sensory into your designs?
We've come across it. I mean, a lot of the work that we've done with Madame Tussauds and just the Merlin Entertainment Group, we've been, I don't say forced in that direction, but made to rethink that of how does smoke come into play into it, how does sound, it's how does smell, even I think there's even something worked on where touch, as far as having it, touch something that sort of like feels slimy, but yeah, it just made that feeling of you connected with that experience. So we're getting pulled into it. I think you get pulled into it as you start going deeper into these experiences and telling stories. You realize the need for the other senses to be part of that experience to give more in-depth feeling. So it's cool. I mean, it's fun to be able to kind of think like that.
So you obviously are somebody who has attended like an InfoComm, which is the AV industry's big show. And have you yet been? I don't recall you saying that you have ever been to ISE. Have you been over to ISE yet?
Yeah, I was there earlier this year. Yep. It was
awesome. Okay, we'll delve into what
we'll go there later.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But my question was, outside of your AV shows, and obviously you attend the Digital Signage Expo out in Vegas as well. What other shows do you attend that kind of give you inspiration or give you ideas of where you can actually take content to the next level? Are you attending the TEA shows? Are you going to some of the more experiential, like out there shows that typical AV people wouldn't be attending?
Yeah, we've gone to IAPA a couple times down in Orlando, which is the Association of the Theme Parks. We've done some local TEA events as well, because we'll be getting obviously more theme entertainment. SUDD, we have the annual conference every year, which changes cities. So we go to that, plus a lot of kind of local events with SUDD. I've been notorious for just sort of popping up at different events throughout the year. I haven't been to South by just yet. It's so hard with the timing of it to try to get to there. And Adobe Summit is another one that's been on the list that we haven't gotten to just yet. Those are ones I've been trying to get to and just haven't had a time for it. So. But I think outside of the box, yeah, I'd say the stuff around the entertainment and the stuff around SUDD or some AIGA events as well that I've gone to is where we've
cool. Apart from the show experiences and going to the ones that you've just named, where does somebody like yourself, now let's face it, you are considered somebody who is considered creative. You obviously have a stigma attached to it. Are you that? Do you just walk around with a pad and paper and design and draw and get all hipsterish on us and not pay attention to anything? You're in your own creative zone. Where do you find inspiration? And it's okay to say Sunday morning, Saturday morning cartoons. Like, where does you and your team get some of your crazy ideas?
Definitely not dismiss Saturday morning cartoons, because that's a staple. No, I think we're a virtual agency, so we don't have an office. Everyone works from their own corner of the country, and we just get out there. I mean, we always do these little trips, whether it's to a ballpark or if it's to just a random city, just to kind of experience it, or through our own adventures on projects. I think we just draw inspiration from. We'll see something and we'll try to make a field trip to go see it, whether it's a museum or a concert venue these are just things that we just do in general here, or just even me myself. Going to different shows is great. I take a lot of photographs. I'm terrible at taking notes. So I have a huge amount of photographs that I struggle to go back and try to remember what I saw. But no, I think it's getting out to these just events, and I think going to different places. And then I'm always, again, just taking pictures and documenting it and thinking about it. And some of it we'll try to put in front of clients, or we'll just use amongst ourselves to come up with ideas for the next big project or something on the horizon we think our clients would like. But yeah, I think the more that putting ourselves out there, putting myself out there to get exposed to shows, to events, to different venues, to retail stores. I guess I'm also kind of spoiled because New York City is not that far away. Philadelphia is not that far. So I can get into the car and I could be at either within an hour and a half, depending where I'm going. So it's nice. It's nice to kind of put yourself into there and take a little bit of time and walk around and see things. So it's really where we draw it from.
So my next question is going to be, just can you give us an example of the thought of how you guys go through a design process in the early inception, in the conception of an idea? AV people will, we deal with spec sheets, we deal with RFPs, we deal with very, boom, boom, boom. We need 3 of these, 2 of these, 4 of these connectors for this, 1 for the other. Design works in a very different way. It has to flow, and it can actually sprawl out in kind of a mind map stuff. What is a typical process for you guys to go down? What's the rabbit hole that you guys go down when you're trying to figure out, how do we take, this pen and make it something that people will want to look at?
Yeah, I think I guess we try to follow a normal process, whatever that is. I guess it's for us, it always starts with that kind of ideation mood board. I mean, it's a bunch of us in a room. It's Mountain Dew and Doritos, and but it's putting out these and looking at these ideas. It's going back to maybe things that we have seen. It's doing some research online. It is, our goal is to put together a mood board of ideas and things that we've seen, and a lot of them are not digital. A lot of them are just tactile experiences or things that we've encountered that we feel there's elements of it. And then once we have a mood board together, then we try to say, well, what aspects or what interactions or things that we saw could be of value to that experience. Like, how do we tell that story about the pen through maybe something we saw at a museum kind of experience? And how do we take something maybe we saw, just walking around, Shoretown, some kind of cool window treatment or, what have you, and then start to try to figure out, how do we take that craziness and make it something conscious out of it that tells a story, or at least can be used as a style for, for bringing that product to life or telling that story. I think we look at both these tactile experiences, which a lot of times I think are not even really digital. I think it's interesting to look at it and say, how is the simplest aspect of that relevant to this? And then how do we maybe take part of that and then turn it into something that is as a digital activation? And then the design part of it, my design crew, we're kind of, geeks in terms of looking at fonts and colors and patterns.
Yeah.
And now even, I've been even getting more deeper into looking at materiality and textures and, looking at sampling books, things of that. So I think
you're getting real fancy.
I know, I'm getting real fancy. It's my geeky version. But no, I think it's stuff like that we pull into it. And then out of that, then we start to figure out, how do we really start applying technology to make some of these experiences, or at least some of these ideas that we have. Like, how far can we push this screen, or how far can we push this sensor to have it kind of pull together? And then it starts to come closer together to something. Then we'll start to bring in some of our programmers, some of our other IT groups, or partners we work with, to say what really is possible here, and what do we have to narrow down to get closer to what the client's budget can afford, and what their expectations are for an experience. So I like that early part because it's so raw.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you take it right back to a very, very raw, very, very cavemanish, early, drawings, rough cuts. The things that you said, somebody like myself, I was a former art major at one point in my career, where I was in college and I was doing that. And one of the most interesting classes I ever took was where the teacher explained the colors and how colors incite reaction in people. The difference between a blue and a red when it comes to impact is obviously big, but it's also an emotional thing and how you connect to that. I love the fact that you guys actually start very early in color theory and work your way back and then add the pieces, going from analog to eventually into the digital, which honestly is very foreign to a technology-based industry that I work in. But it's a very, very awesome, to me, I can appreciate that approach. And I'm sure many of the people that are listening will maybe rethink, because some of the things that we have been talking about on not just these episodes of Rebels and Flux, but within the industry in general, is that, we kind of start with a solution. Like we need to pull it back and find out where the needs are. How important is your early discovery phase or your needs analysis with the customer to your overall, success? Do you guys meeting with the customer early on and jotting down these, things on the back of napkins, does that carry through your process of the design?
Yeah, very much. I think it makes or breaks a project, because I think if you don't have that conversation, and you need to ask the hard questions. I mean, there's a part of the fluffy creative part, but I think the realization is you understand that there's a task, there's a budget associated with that, and it's our responsibility to advise the client on how those dollars can be best spent. I mean, they're paying for our creativity, but they're also paying for the honesty to deliver it to them. So I think if we're not honest in asking them or helping them, I think honesty is kind of interesting too, because it's the clients always have an idea of what they want, and that's great, and it's a good start. But I think there's sometimes where an agency needs to be honest to say you're overreaching and level set the expectations versus, yes, that's great, that we can do that, we'll deliver that. And I think for a while in the beginning we were in that point, we got to that point, we said yes, and we didn't really push back. And now I think after all those years, you're like, all right, this is actually, this is what we have to do. This is good business. We are taking what we know and we're going to meet you in the middle, but we're advising you the best way to spend your dollars and to come up with an experience that's going to be meaningful for you and your clients. If it's a different direction, we have to a certain degree, respectfully stand our ground as to why we feel the client needs to have a little bit of an education, or at least a little bit of a better understanding of what role this is going to play in their store or in the museum or wherever it's at. But I think if we don't do that in the very beginning, the client's not going to be happy, our reputation is going to go, and at the end, no one's going to be satisfied with what's being delivered. And that's the last thing we want to see. I think that's the last thing the industry needs is any of those kind of black eyes out there, because an agency refused to ask those questions at the very beginning of the process.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that approach. Now, I guess in that same vein, you have you're steering clients into what is doable or what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
What is an example of something that was so outrageous, out of control, that you kind of had to pull it back? I mean, I'm assuming people have come to you and said, I need a rocket ship. And you've had to pull it back to maybe a bike would be the place to start.
I mean, we ran into this. I mean, the Ghostbusters project we worked on a couple of years ago, I think as you can imagine, that project started off as this Disney-esque experience. And I think that was a good example. We looked at it and thought, oh wow, we're working on Ghostbusters. We get to work with Sony Studios, and we were and we thought the dollars are there, and you can pull off these experiences that they wanted the gates of hell to open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things were being thrown at. I mean, all this. I mean, it's really cool what the theme book originally started at, and I think the reality kind of sunk in after we went through the first round when we delivered our budget, and it was like a quarter of that. And then I think that's where, you know, we sort of had to get in this position saying, okay, you can't have this, and we have to be creative in how to pull off the same kind of effects, but being a little bit more creative in how we do that visually, and right down even to the production of some of the characters that we pulled together. There was a lot of funny moments. I think we found the makeup guys that came in that did the Sparky, and I think we got them by giving them a 6-pack and a couple burgers. We got them to come out from Long Island to help us. So it's stuff like that we kind of pulled off creatively, but that was one of those projects where you go in and just kind of have this assumption, and all of a sudden reality sinks in. You're like, oh, you're out.
Now that project was done at Madame Tussauds in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, just for those that are following along, it will be down here on that lower third as well. My last, I guess, serious question, because we have to ask the serious questions to get to the fun stuff. Have you ever encountered a point in the process where you are limited by the technology that is offered to you at right now? Have you reached the point where, yes, we could go with projection, but we need projection to be, 100,000 lumens. It's not there yet. We need more than 4K. We need 16K to get that look. Obviously, I'm treading into spaces that you don't talk to on a daily basis, but the tighter LEDs will allow you not to see the dots and be more immersed in stuff. Have you gotten to a point, and it doesn't necessarily have to be AV, where that technology you went as far as the technology could take you at the moment, and you're waiting for the next step?
That's a good question. I'm going to say we haven't hit that barrier yet. And I guess maybe that is just knowing the threshold of the client. But I will say the other barrier we've hit, though, too, is wanting to use technologies that we know the client isn't necessarily prepared to support. Like, whereas you take projectors, for example. Many times we wanted to do projection mapping in some spaces. And I think just because of the amount of maintenance necessary to do that has made us go back and just use traditional panels instead, because of knowing what the client's capability is for managing something like that. Maybe that's the threshold. I think that's the threshold we've hit more 9 out of 10 times.
That's 100% believable and understandable.
That's been the hardest. LED, we've wanted to use that a bunch of times. I think it comes back to the maintenance part of it. It's, and I know some of them are very durable, and I have no negative comments on it at all. I think there's still, the reality is that we still face upkeep on stuff. Yeah. And sometimes the clients are just not thinking past delivery.
Yeah.
And I think that's been our biggest challenge on a lot of projects. It's been more of that. I wish I had, some other kind of technology to use.
That's an interesting spin on it, because so many people want that and never think about, day 100.
Yep.
When I was, working for a manufacturer, that was a big conversation piece, is that you can buy a video wall, 4 panel, 40 panel, 60 panel, doesn't make a difference. Day 1, it looks awesome. You're impressed. What happens day 300 when the color's off, and both yourself and me suffer from a problem where if we walk into a space and that one display is kind of greenish, it will kind of throw off the whole wall regardless. You can't stop but focus on that, right? So that is a concern. And it's great to hear a content creator who is also worried about the being able to sustain a product technically after it has been installed. because most of the time it's here's the content. One last quick business question. Have you now, and I know you've been at these shows, you've been at the InfoComs and stuff. Have you developed this great idea? You work on it at home and it's content based, it's awesome graphic design. You hand it over and next thing you know, it's stuck on a 45 or 50 foot, it's not 45, excuse me, but a 55-inch panel. Completely not the idea, but all of a sudden it just got value engineered down and you're like, oh man, why did I just spend 3 weeks developing this stuff and it's just being shown on a 32-inch monitor?
Yeah, it's kind of happening now. It should be launching in November, but it's a great idea and it included a lot of dynamic media to kind of deliver sort of that real time. It was like real time data to help you sort of figure out if you have enough time to do something. And I think the idea is, and I'm going to get scrapped altogether because there's an appetite, but not much of a strong appetite for it. And the way that would be delivered would just be demeaning to the whole experience, and it wouldn't do it justice. So it kills me because I'm going to use it again. It's sit there on the floor. I feel like I feel like sometimes I kind of look at it. It's like there's it's the B side, it's the B. It's the one that got cut, and I'm gonna eventually put out like a tracks experience. All these ideas are going to be on it, and
your best of B tracks.
Exactly. The OEG B sides.
And one more, because obviously I have about 1,000 of these questions here to ask, but now that we went down this rabbit hole, I have to ask the next question. Have you seen, you personally, as somebody who's being invited into meetings, have you seen an uptick in lobby experiences for corporate? Now, I know your focus has been more on the experiential, on the museum side, on the retail side, but trends in AV are showing that people are looking for that impact when you walk into a lobby. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that same trend from a designer side?
Yeah, very much so. We've gotten pulled into a couple of those kind of opportunities. I think more of these architectural firms or environmental graphic design agencies are, they're getting tasked to use technology more in lobbies. You see that a lot of corporate headquarters, back office branding, like the LinkedIn headquarters, kind of things like that. And I think these large visuals are becoming the norm in a lot of these buildings. It creates this very welcoming experience, this environment. It adds to the character of the building, the personality. And, I think also what's driving that too is you look at how LED has become so adaptive in its design and the way that you can integrate it into any type of architecture has just propelled it. It's almost kind of skyrocketing. With a lot of new buildings I see in New York City or renovations, there's some aspect of it that's being thought of in the lobby. It might not be this grand experience that they're hoping for, but there's always an element. So I see that as a huge area.
Awesome. That's coming from the mouth of somebody who is on the creative and content side, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just from the old dog selling boxes out of a warehouse, if that's what you think I do. So anyway, so let's add to this and let's go into dumb questions with Bryan Meszaros.
Bring it on.
All right, let's start with question number 1, because I am a follower of your stuff. How many ballparks have you visited?
Ooh, it's just counted national parks. I'm halfway there.
You're halfway to all the major leagues.
I'm halfway to all the major leagues. Minor, there's gonna be 20 or 30 of them that are in there. It's a really bad obsession, and that's not even counting the amount of caps that I own.
You collect a baseball cap per stadium.
Per stadium, and also stadiums teams I haven't been to. There's probably about a new one that comes in maybe once a week. My wife has reduced me to build shelves in the closet so I can hide them. They're not on display anymore.
So I will put my Bizarro Park and ask if you have ever been there. Have you been to the Gary, Indiana Railcats Stadium?
I have not been there, and I don't own the hat yet.
I just happened to come back from there, and I happened to be at that place, and I'm thinking, I wonder if Bryan Meszaros has been here. So no Gary, Indiana baseball.
Not yet.
But you are a frequenter of the Lakewood Blue Claws. I know that for a fact.
Oh yes. We got to support the Jersey team.
Not only supporting the Jersey team, but you happen to be a Philly fan?
Phillies fan. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's awesome because we're just about to hang up this call right now.
Oh,
thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been no I'm kidding. I'm absolutely no. I am not going to go there. So your visitation of the baseball fields is pretty big. You actually you visited many of these, minor league as well. Another place that you frequent, and I'm not labeling anything here, but you are a fan of breweries.
Yeah,
you enjoy the craft brew. Am I lying here?
No, you're not lying at all. I'm a frequenter at a lot of craft breweries. It's now, kind of beer and baseball, but just hand in hand.
I'm noticing the pattern. I wonder if you're a hot dog connoisseur too while you're at it, but you never know.
I mean, we are from New Jersey, so this does bring up the Max's versus Windmill debate.
If you would like to go down that road, I will tell you that you're 100% wrong, and that the best hot dog in Jersey is at Rutt's Hut.
All right. I mean, I'll go Jersey Freeze on you.
Oh no, well, that's close to home. My Bizarro discovery, and this is within the last 2 years. And as a matter of fact, I brought this up with your coworker, your friend, who actually threw you under the bus on episode 8 and 9, Mr. Steve Picanza.
Yeah.
Now here is a guy fresh off the boat from Italy. Parents, still make Sunday gravy the way they've made it back in the day. He had no clue what an Italian hot dog was.
Ooh, I don't even know what to say with that.
He's now on his way searching for an Italian hot dog. And for those that don't know, an Italian hot dog is a semolina roll or a half round roll cut in half, cored down the middle. You jam the hot dogs, you jam some peppers, onions, and fried cubed potatoes in there. You load it up with all your stuff, and that would be an Italian hot dog. Now, those are regular hot dogs, not Italian sausage. That's what threw Mr. Picanza off. Now, since we're on the topic of Mr. Picanza, tell me, he credited you as a pit master. What kind of barbecue game do you got going on in the little corner of New Jersey?
Well, I upped the game here. The other day I smoked a roast beef. It's like a little hobby on the side. So I have this little smoker in the backyard, and then again, the travels. I buy spices. I buy just random stuff wherever I find it, and I'll do my own rubs, and from ribs to just anything I can sort of get my hands on. I found this farmer earlier this year in Portland, Oregon, and he was raising woolly pigs from Hungary.
Only you.
Only me, and he just got his USDA certificate. And so I bought a couple $100 worth of meat from him that he sent out, and I had like pork shoulder, a couple ribs. He sent me a half pound of bacon for free, and I have that was my weird collection for the summer that I put in a big meat chest. And they come over, it's the crew will come over, and I'm like, I'll just smoke some ribs and smoke a roast beef. You gotta keep up. You get the good.
You gotta keep them well fed. Now, are you somebody who did you build your smoker, or are you one of them like, cut an oil drum in half and did all that sort of stuff? I would expect.
Not yet.
I can see you're heading down that
road. We're gonna get there.
Do the roasted pig? Are you sitting there all day doing this?
Gonna bury the pig in the ground with the coals.
Oh, Hawaiian style. Awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, Mr. Picanza also claimed that you are the world's best, most unknown event planner. Don't know what he meant by that, but he said that you can throw together an experiential night of being at you can make the most out of a bad place. You're at an event, you're at a party, it's okay, whatever. We're going to a baseball game. We're going to go check out this place that sells woolly pig steaks. And then after that, we're going skydiving. That's what he basically has said. Can you live up to that claim?
Oh yeah. Hans and I have had many of good road stories. Many of cool adventures that when things have gone pretty bad somehow, and we're finding something pretty cool out of it. I'm trying to think. There's just so many places.
You could steer the ship right, is what.
Basically. I would always sort of find that nice little gem and pull it together. So we've had many fun nights both here in the States and over in Europe. And I've had plenty of those moments just on my own travels prior to. So I don't know. You
awesome.
just sort of learn
the most out of nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's make sure that you are human and that you are just not making events and doing cool cook-offs and stuff like that. What was the last movie that you saw in a movie theater?
Blinded by the Light.
Blinded by the Light.
Had to. It's summertime. It's Springsteen. So I went to see that. That was pretty good. I actually kind of liked it.
Awesome. All right. Is there any truth that you were at the Jonas Brothers concert in Asbury Park for the VMAs?
PG answered no.
Okay. Just checking.
I've got so many issues with that. So many issues.
They started at the Stone Pony and they ended up on the beach with 8,000 people.
Yeah.
Who knew? Mm-hmm. Who knew? But, credit to one of the Jonas Brothers. He brought Sophie Turner with him, and I'm kind of
discredit to the one that tried to dress like Springsteen.
Okay, yeah, the sleeveless thing is a Jersey thing. These sleeves do come off.
I pop up.
Just want to point that out. All right, as a traveler of sorts, what is your favorite cuisine? You are obviously somebody who's gone many different places, not just within the United States. What is your favorite cuisine?
I have to say barbecue.
Barbecue.
Travel
the world in search of good BB.
Barbecue. Yeah. Barbecue.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Barbecue.
All right. Now, again, you went to the breweries. You visited local breweries. I know you're a fan of the Cane Brewery and the AP Brewery and stuff like that. What is your favorite type of beer? Not necessarily brand, but what is the one that you will go into places? Are you a fruity beer kind of guy? Do you try the weird coconut watermelon mashup? Or are you pretty much the same? You just go around tasting India Pale Ales or some sort of pale ale in that. What is your favorite type?
I like the hazy IPAs now. Big fan. Just like the New England style is okay, but I like when they start going down the path with the hazy IPAs and a little bit of variation on the hops and a little lactose in there to get that nice creamy taste and a little hoppy. I'm more a fan of that. Can't do sours. I have a hard time with sours. Stouts in the winter, I can go to some stouts, and I'll admit it. Now that we're coming into fall, I'm a big pumpkin beer guy. I know. You get a good pumpkin, but it can't be like that overly sweet, kind of garbage.
It can't be in August. It can't be in August. Pumpkin is not August, dude.
Pumpkin's August. I had pumpkin coffee this morning.
You all right?
From Rook.
There are two things.
I went to a local Jersey coffee shop, and they had it, and I ordered.
I know they do. Not happy with that. There's two things in the world that I've discovered on Twitter that ignites people or sets people off.
Yeah.
One is tweeting about pumpkin spice in August. There are the haters and there's the lovers.
Yeah.
The other side, if I put out a tweet about pineapple pizza or pineapple on pizza, there are people that will either stop following me or stop following the people that like pineapple on pizza. I personally don't care. I'm not a huge fan of it, but hey man, you go ahead, try that and ask people what they like. If they like pineapple on their pizza, you may get some hate mail. So you, sir, also to wrap this up, you are a Seton Hall grad. You are a pirate at heart. You go to the basketball games and you mentioned that you teach. What do you teach at Seton Hall?
So I started a class a year or so ago. It's digital engagement in physical spaces. So it was, you know, it's I think like a lot of schools. I mean, they have a very traditional design and branding program, and you know, kind of the idea came out of it of what you know my experience has been since graduating, getting into this crazy wacky industry of ours, which is you know design and AV, and I thought it'd be fun to go back and they asked if I'd be interested in trying to work on this curriculum and develop this class. I mean, it's still a work in progress. And then a couple subsequent workshops ever since with it, and it's been fun just seeing the kids' reaction because some of this they're not exposed to. Even I think just on branding of spaces in general. Like, you know, saying to them that if you walk into a restaurant, you see the graphics on the wall, like that's design. That's another element of design. And then you start to throw technology into it, and it blows their mind. And it's cool. It's cool to see that. It's cool to challenge their thinking and give them another opportunity to find a job. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise of this is to give them ways that they can use their skill sets to go into other areas of the field because we need more people. You know, I don't think both sides. I mean, AV needs more, designers need more. We need more of those kids that have this thinking, this hybrid thinking when they leave versus I'm just gonna graduate with a design degree and go do logos. We don't need any more of that. We need kids that are gonna graduate and they're gonna say, you know what, I can apply my skills to think about and experience, whether it's just all static or it has a digital component to it. We just need more of that for this industry.
All right. Now I'm going to finish this off with the quick lightning round. I've never done this before, so bear with me. Ready and set. Are you a Taylor ham or pork roll fan?
Pork roll.
For those that don't know this obviously shows that Bryan is from South Jersey, not from North Jersey, because North Jersey refers to that particular type of weird New Jersey specialty as Taylor ham, which is the brand, pork roll, which is the product. If you are a pork roll person, you are below the 195 line, and that would be Interstate 195. That's what I'm heard the dividing line is. So next question, bigger icon from New Jersey, Bon Jovi or Bruce Springsteen?
Always Bruce. Always Bruce.
Same question, bigger icon, Queen Latifah, Naughty by Nature?
Naughty by Nature.
Naughty by Nature. We're obviously going down the genre here. And the best band that you think that came out of Jersey that nobody assumes is from New Jersey?
Gaslight Anthem. No, Gaslight Anthem. Although I think people know they're from New Jersey.
Really? I would have.
Bouncing Souls. I don't know too many people know they're from New Jersey.
One, I'm shocked you didn't say Fountains of Wayne. They had one. But my choice and the core of the band is primarily from New Jersey, but I would say that STP or Stone Temple Pilots would be the best band that nobody actually ties back to Jersey to come out.
It's the Central Jersey. You know, I think it's the Central Jersey roots. Yeah. You know, it's
so it would be 100% Skid Row.
Yeah, pretty much. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, Bryan Meszaros, a former and one of the OGs of OE, one of the OE or OGs of the CI 40 under 40 class of 2014, which I happen to be on that same page with you, but you obviously got a bigger picture than I did. Bryan, where can we find out more information about you and OpenEye Global?
Yeah, so online, openeyeglobal.com. All things on Twitter and Instagram, as well as OpenEye Global. I'm on Twitter at Bryan Meszaros, and then I have an Instagram at August in Jersey.
Awesome. We'll be hanging out with you in October in New York City, or I will, and Starin will. We're going to go hang out with a couple of our manufacturer friends over at the XUSC event, which is part of New York Digital Signage Week. So I will see you there. Is there anything else we need to put in? Where can we find out about SCGD? Dude, I completely forgot.
Oh, yeah. So SCGD, scgd.org. Have a look. It's an absolutely amazing organization, 2,500 members globally. There are a series of chapters in throughout the country. I think there's about 15 or so chapters that are all out across the U.S., from LA to New York to Orlando, Austin, and it's really just a gathering of experienced designers, wayfinding practitioners, brand agencies, architects, anyone that has a stake in the built environment. They were there, and a lot of cool events that go on through the course of the year. So, yeah, I would love that.
Awesome. We're going to fact check you on that. And if there isn't 15, we're going to deduct points.
Nice.
Just want to let you know that we should have the facts popping up right about here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Rebels Flux. Thank you, Mr. Meszaros. I will say Mr. because at this point he may be fancier than I thought he was. Here is a guy that I have had beer and Korean tacos with on a boardwalk, but apparently I need to up my game when it comes to hanging out with Mr. Meszaros. So you can find me on Twitter at Chris_Neto. You can find out about Rebels Flux right here. We are on the synergy-center.com, which is Starin's website. Starin is the sponsor of the show. Please check them out. Their Twitter is showing up right here at Starin_MKG or Starin.biz, which is the main website. My name's Chris Neto. This has been another episode of Rebels Flux. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Rebels Flux.